and
that.
now that
Thank
you got
so
this
much
little
for the gift.
accident, give me my money back. That was not a gift.
Promise to God. Yes, it was. But it's
no,
okay.
you didn't. Stealing and helping.
But what you steal?
I don't steal anything.
You don't?
What I stole?
You sold men.
What schools the man that I stole?
Tony's.
Tony knowing you.
So
Exactly.
mind the baby or whatever. But you can't be.
This was not the first.
Tony.
You have stepbrothers. Looks like the
Guys, a demon.
To wonder in a
Tony.
But I am asking.
This is why I gotta add it.
But you can't be thinking.
So apparently when it comes down to the Braxtons coming out with the season 2, production definitely put a pause on it due to all the sisters getting into it with Tamar. And for those who don't know, Tamar is not a friend of the show this season. She came on as like a main character or main cast member, whatever the hell you want to call it, right? But she decided to bring on Ashley. And for those who don't know, Ashley is their niece from their brother, Mike.
Trina is straight up calling out Tamar, blasting her for messing up their whole show with wild behavior, and the Braxton drama queen is spinning the block again with full force chaos. This situation is getting louder by the minute, and nobody can pretend it's calm anymore. The tension between Tamar and Trina has been heating up for months, and now the mess is spilling right into the production of their show like a busted fire hydrant.
You're right. The show's supposed to do it because it's supposed to show real life family. We have a real life family, and real life family goes through real life situations. You're not going to get along all the time. You're not going to see eye to eye all the time, and everybody has their own journey. Period. That's just it. So if you come on here talking about, oh, Tawanda is jealous, she's so jealous. How can I be jealous of one sister and not jealous of Toni Braxton?
Word in the streets is that producers are hesitant to push forward because the drama has gotten way too unpredictable, even for TV. It's crazy because everyone knows producers usually love when things get messy on camera. So what did Tamar actually pull off this time? The talk on the curb is that Tamar was the one who exposed Trina's ex for allegedly acting like a creep and targeting younger women. And one thing everybody knows about Trina is that she does not play about her man, her partner, or any guy she chooses to stand beside. That kind of accusation hit her pride like a brick thrown through a window. But that's not the whole storm, because Tamar is also claiming that Trina is trying to turn their sisters against her and freeze her out of the family circle. She's basically saying Trina is moving like a mastermind, pulling strings behind closed doors, trying to isolate her from everyone she grew up with.
I want to clear up some discrepancies though. These people asking me, hey guys, have you spoken to Tamar? You guys talking to Tamar? You talk to Tamar? Of course. As I stated before, regardless on what happens, if any of my sisters call me, I'm going to pick up the phone and answer. If they need me, if they text me, I'm going to respond. And that's just the bottom line. That's just what it is. However,
Things are getting real intense around that family table. So does this mean Tamar is drifting away from the rest of the Braxton sisters? And why does it seem like nobody is stepping up to defend her right now? The streets need answers, because the silence around her is becoming louder than the drama itself. The buzz really kicked up a couple days ago when rumors dropped that Toni Braxton had walked off set during filming, sending shockwaves through the crew and leaving everyone confused about what triggered her reaction. According to one report, insiders revealed something wild. Toni Braxton straight up walked off the set while they were filming the new season of The Braxtons. The Grammy winner is tired of the non-stop sister drama, and she's not holding back anymore.
sensitive to other people's boundaries, and I respect people's boundaries regardless on what it is. If I agree or not, I'm going to respect your boundaries. If you say you don't feel like it or you don't want to beg, you want to do this, guess what? I'm going to respect your boundaries by not crossing those lines. That's just it. And that's it. You know? If this person said, you act like you hard, you got a wall that makes it seem like you don't care. It's not that I don't care. It's not that. What it is that I have respectfully learned to compartmentalize the things that is more important. And it's not important for me to do anything other than to protect my peace. That's it. That's just it.
Well, y'all, the comment section was a disaster, with folks claiming Tawanda is just bitter about Tamar's success.
Tony said that when Tracy passed, they made a promise to her that they would stay united, but now everything is falling apart and the tension has only gotten worse. Some sources were trying to make it sound like the situation had something to do with Tony herself, but in reality, everything was boiling over between Tamar and Trina. And to make things even more complicated, there was also a little situation involving their other sister, Tawanda, but the main fire was definitely burning between Tamar and Trina. Their energy has been clashing so hard that people on set could practically feel the sparks popping in the air. The chaos between these sisters didn't just pop up out of nowhere either. It's been bubbling for a long time now, and last season was already pure madness. Their series, The Braxtons, has been airing for a good minute, and every episode made it more obvious that the tension between them was impossible to hide. They'd sit in the same room, smile for the cameras, but the vibe would hit different, like everyone was trying to pretend the room wasn't full of stress. Sure, every sister had her own struggles and her own moments of drama last season, but something about the way Tamar and Trina interacted felt completely off. Their energy wasn't just awkward, it was like they were carrying unspoken grudges and unfinished arguments that kept leaking through the screen. This wasn't your regular, everyday disagreement. This was something deeper that had been simmering for a long time. Sibling disagreements happen, but this situation feels way deeper than a simple back and forth. You'd think they would be more supportive this time, especially since so much of the season focused on Tracy's passing in 2022, which left a huge emotional mark on all of them. Losing a family member is never easy, and losing a sister hits in a way that stays with you no matter how strong you try to act. To deal with everything weighing on them, the sisters started going to therapy together, trying to heal as a unit. The show even filmed them in a group grief counseling session with a therapist named Spirit, where they tried to unpack everything they've been carrying. But even inside that safe space, Tamar and Tawanda just couldn't keep the peace, and the tension crawled right back in like it never left. Tamar came at Tawanda, accusing her of not putting real effort into keeping their bond alive. Tawanda didn't back down for a second, saying she was focusing on her own well-being and setting her own boundaries to protect her peace. And honestly, those two barely talk these days, which tells you how deep this rift has gotten. If you ask Tamar, she fully believes the only reason Tawanda even picks up her calls or replies to her texts is because the cameras are rolling and the show needs them to look connected. That belief alone shows how much the trust between them has cracked, and it's turning every conversation into a bigger issue than it needs to be. Tamar said, "It's a matter of respect. I respect where people are." She meant it, but the whole vibe still felt heavy, because the room had tension you could almost touch. And it's one thing when family drama happens behind closed doors, but when the whole world gets a front row seat to the mess, the pressure gets hotter, and everything feels 10 times louder. Fans have definitely noticed the uncomfortable energy between them, and it's getting harder to ignore how tense things feel on screen. At this point, nobody can tell if they're actually trying to fix their bond or if they've accepted that their relationship might never go back to how it used to be. One thing is clear. This whole situation is heavy, and something in the air says this mess isn't calming down anytime soon. People haven't forgotten when Tawanda jumped on live last year to talk about her relationship with Tamar and said this, right? She said, "Yeah, I wanna clear up some discrepancies though. My piece. That's it. That's just it." She made it sound simple, but the message was loaded, and everybody felt it. The comment section turned into a full-on disaster zone, with folks jumping in claiming Tawanda was bitter about Tamar's success. Tamar has built a strong career in music, reality TV, and live television, and she's out here stacking achievements while staying booked and busy. Tawanda is also working hard and building her own path, but the internet never cares about balance. People will always pick sides and stir trouble just to keep the conversation hot. In this case, Tamar's fans were convinced that the only reason Tawanda went live and spoke on Tamar the way she did was because she was secretly bothered by Tamar's success. They painted the whole situation like it was jealousy in disguise, tossing opinions around as if they knew every detail of what happens behind closed doors. But one thing about Tawanda, she's not the type to let people talk wild about her without stepping up and clapping back in her own way. She's always been the kind of woman who will defend her name, keep her dignity, and shut down any storyline she feels is twisting the truth. And trust me when I say she dragged Tamar's fans, she dragged them with no hesitation. She wasn't holding back at all, and the whole internet felt that energy instantly. When Tawanda got married a few days ago, Tamar was the only sister who didn't get an invite, and this wasn't some accident or oversight. That absence spoke louder than any statement they could have posted, and it showed just how deep the cracks in their bond really are. Last season was already a full, hot mess, but most people thought they had finally handled their issues like grown, mature women ready to turn the page. But according to new reports, things got so explosive behind the scenes that production had to hit the brakes and temporarily pause filming. One report even said that producers shut down taping of the Braxtons after a heated blow-up between Tamar and her sisters that got way too intense for cameras. Season 2 is supposed to drop this summer, and fans were hyped. But after everything that went down with Tamar and Tawanda last season, everyone assumed the argument must have been about those two again. But then Trina stepped in and made it extremely clear that she and Tamar were the ones going through a rough patch. She posted, "To everyone who has distanced themselves from me, kindly stay there." That line hit like a warning shot, and the internet immediately started digging for clues. So what happened between these two women, and why is Trina this upset with Tamar? The streets are talking, and the whispers are pointing to a situation involving their niece, Ashley, and Trina's ex being exposed for inappropriate behavior. Ashley allegedly claimed she told Trina that her husband, Gabe Solis, was being creepy. But Trina didn't take her side and instead stood with her husband, even though she knew what he did. That decision left a stain on their relationship and brought a lot of hurt feelings into the mix. Now the whole situation is circling back around, resurfacing at the worst possible time, and Tamar speaking on it reportedly reopened wounds Trina wasn't ready to deal with. Their family history is tangled, emotional, and complicated, which makes this new fallout even harder to navigate. Now, Gabe, may he rest in peace, was definitely not the ideal partner for Trina, and that became clear over the years. He spent a big part of their 12-year marriage being unfaithful, and eventually Trina matched the energy because their relationship was so tangled that calling it toxic almost feels too simple. Their dynamic was messy, unpredictable, and full of twists that nobody could have scripted. Even with all the chaos, they somehow kept circling back to each other, no matter how bad things got. And of course, every bit of it played out on Braxton family values for the world to witness, which only made their situation even more intense. So when people heard rumors that Gabe may have crossed boundaries in ways he shouldn't have, it sadly didn't shock anyone, because he already had a reputation for letting his eyes wander. Now, for anyone who doesn't know Ashley Braxton, she's the daughter of Michael Braxton, the older brother of the famous Braxton sisters. She started gaining attention online when she shared a serious story about how one of her aunts allegedly sided with her husband in a way that left her feeling pushed out of the family and manipulated. That story hit the internet like a lightning bolt, and because it involved a Braxton, it exploded fast. The details Ashley shared were intense, emotional, and deeply personal. And the fact that it involved family only made everything even heavier. Ashley, who is now 32, explained that everything happened back when she was much younger, during a time when she assumed her family home was a safe space. She said she had gone to visit her aunt, the way any relative would, expecting nothing unusual, expecting normal family warmth. But according to her, while she was there, her aunt's husband started behaving in ways that made her deeply uncomfortable, crossing boundaries no person should ever cross. She described his actions as inappropriate and unsettling, and the moment stuck with her for years because she felt blindsided by someone who should have been trustworthy. Ashley also claimed that instead of supporting her or protecting her, her aunt allegedly downplayed the situation and stood with her husband, which made Ashley feel isolated and unheard. That choice left a long-lasting scar, and the emotional fallout shaped the tension that still exists within parts of the Braxton family today. Things took an even darker turn when Ashley said he started sending her messages that were completely out of line and wildly inappropriate for any young family member to receive from an adult. That kind of situation can shake anyone, especially when it comes from someone who was supposed to be part of the trusted family circle. Ashley eventually went back home, completely rattled by the whole experience and unsure how to even process what had happened. But the situation didn't stay hidden for long, because her stepmother ended up coming across the messages and instantly knew something was wrong. She didn't waste a single moment. She brought everything straight to Michael Braxton, because a situation like that can't be brushed aside. Michael was deeply disturbed by what he saw, shocked that something this serious could be connected to his own family. He immediately reached out to his sister, Ashley's aunt, to talk through what was going on and figure out the truth. But according to Ashley, the reaction she got wasn't what anyone would expect from a relative hearing something this serious. Instead of approaching the situation with concern, calm, or any form of accountability, Ashley claims her aunt defended her husband and flipped the situation back onto her. That move left Ashley feeling even more hurt, confused, and betrayed, especially since she believed her aunt was supposed to be the person who stood up for her during something so heavy. Reports also say Ashley explained that her stepmother and father saw multiple inappropriate messages exchanged between herself and her aunt's partner, and that's what pushed them to act fast. Ashley said that in the beginning, her aunt appeared loving, supportive, and genuinely upset about what Ashley went through, which made her believe she had someone in her corner. But over time, Ashley felt like her aunt switched up, pulling away emotionally and no longer showing the same understanding she had at the start. That shift left Ashley feeling isolated, like the situation was being swept under the rug instead of handled properly, which only made the emotional damage even deeper. The whole situation grew into this heavy cloud hanging over the family, and every layer that came out later only made the story more explosive. Ashley said that as she got older, she started to fully understand how off everything felt, and it hit her that it was strange her aunt seemed comfortable with her partner's behavior given the circumstances. She said it felt like the love she expected from her own family just disappeared, like it was cut off without warning, leaving her confused and hurt. She went on to explain that her unnamed aunt acted like Ashley somehow started the whole situation or was part of the problem, and blaming someone that young made the whole thing even more painful. Ashley said that through therapy she finally learned how she coped at the time, but also understood that none of the blame belonged on her because she should have never been put near a situation like that in the first place. Ashley shared that she opened up to friends who had gone through similar experiences, and she said it hurts her that this is something they can bond over because it's the kind of pain nobody should ever relate to. She spoke about it with honesty, showing how heavy it still feels even now. Ashley didn't reveal which aunt it was, and she kept that part private, but the timeline gave people enough clues to start connecting dots. The situation reportedly went down 16 years ago, which made fans start looking at who the Braxton sisters were married to during that period. And that's when things got even louder online. At that time, the list looked like this. Trina was married to Gabriel Solis, Tamar was married to Daryl Lumby, Tracy was with Kevin Surratt, and Tawanda was with Andre Carter. Breaking down the timeline like that made people look at each marriage differently, trying to understand which household the situation may have happened in, and the discussions got intense fast. But even with all that speculation, the only thing Ashley made clear is that her pain came from someone inside the family circle, someone she trusted. And that realization alone still hits hard whenever she talks about it. So technically, any one of them could be the Aunt Ashley was talking about. And since she was careful not to drop a single name, it became almost impossible to know exactly who she meant without more details. But let's be real for a second. When has the internet ever waited for full details before jumping into detective mode? The moment Ashley's video started gaining traction, people did what they always do. They started digging like it was their full-time job. Fans and online sleuths went straight into investigation mode, scrolling through old interviews, reality show clips, past family arguments, and every little piece of Braxton drama they could find, looking for any clue that might expose who she meant. And honestly, considering how much of the Braxton family's life has played out on reality TV for years, there was plenty of material to sift through. Every season had its own storm, its own storyline, and its own moment that made people think, wait, could this be the clue? People love a mystery, and this one had the kind of tension that keeps the internet glued to their screens. The first big clue Ashley gave was that the man involved was allegedly doing something similar on television, and that detail made fans lock in even harder. Because anyone who has followed the Braxtons for a while knows that their family has never been shy about showing real problems on camera. Their highs and lows have played out in full color, sometimes messy, sometimes emotional, but always very real. Once Ashley dropped that detail, the internet instantly started connecting it to moments they remembered from the show. Moments where certain husbands were acting questionable, crossing lines, or just moving strange on camera. Viewers started reposting old clips, breaking them down frame by frame, like they were solving a crime scene. And the fact that the Braxton family has been open about their issues on and off screen only added fuel to the investigation frenzy, because people felt like all the clues were hiding right there in years of footage waiting to be spotted.
Listen, I have a question.
Who put out that horrible, terrible, bad rumor that y'all broke up? Who did that?
Your sister.
Toni Braxton just broke her silence, and she didn't hold back. All those wild rumors about Birdman and the Cash Money Empire, she finally addressed them, and the truth is darker than anyone expected.
Toni Braxton?
Right, I don't believe they got married. I think that's a lie. The reason why I think it's a lie, because Stella not gonna do nothing without Slim being there or Slim knowing something about it.
Birdman's entire empire, once dripping in luxury and diamonds, is now being linked to strange rituals and twisted energy that's eating him alive. And guess what? Toni might have just confirmed it without even meaning to. For years, people looked at Toni and Birdman like a mystery wrapped in money, the R&B queen and the street mogul. Everyone thought it was some odd fairy tale, but behind those red carpets and private jets was something way more dangerous.
Weird to me when I got the Cash Money, it was the weirdest thing. I know they had all these artists on the label.
Right.
So I get to the label, and then all of a sudden, They let all the artists go, all the other artists go.
Tony didn't fall for Birdman's flash. She fell into his world, a world that looked glamorous from the outside, but felt cursed once you stepped in. When she walked away, it wasn't because she was done loving him. It was because she'd seen too much. That sparkle turned sinister fast, and all that talk about their secret marriage, it wasn't a rumor anymore. It was real. Paperwork was moving behind the scenes, and people close to them were whispering that something went seriously wrong right after they said, "I do." 2 weeks later, the internet blew up. Tony was on social media calling it all cap, scrubbing every trace of their union like she was running from something bigger than heartbreak. That wasn't just denial. That was self-defense. She wasn't dodging embarrassment. She was cutting ties before the darkness pulled her down too. And now those old whispers about what really happens inside Cash Money, they're getting louder, way louder. People been whispering about strange late-night meetings and shady moves inside Cash Money for years. And now those stories sound a lot more real. Artists like Juvenile been warning about it forever, saying weird things happen behind closed doors that don't add up. And Toni Braxton, she saw it firsthand. She looked that side of Birdman's world right in the face, and it scared her more than any disease ever could. Tony's been through it all. Lupus, heart surgery, near-death scares. She's a survivor. But this was different. It wasn't a medical battle. It was spiritual warfare. She realized she wasn't just dealing with a man. She was dealing with an energy that could drag her straight down if she stayed too close. So she made her move quick, wiped her socials clean, erased their connection, and threw herself back into music and self-care. That wasn't a breakup. That was an escape plan. While Tony was glowing up and getting her strength back, Birdman's whole vibe started falling apart. Cameras started catching him looking off. There's footage of him literally dozing off during shows, slumped in his chair like his body was shutting down. Fans said he looked sick, like something was draining him from the inside. Some joked he was the Black Joe Biden, saying he could barely stay awake. But behind those jokes was real concern. Ever since that Hot Boys reunion tour, clips been flooding social media, Birdman standing under bright lights, eyes rolling, losing focus, mid-sentence, while the crowd looks confused. People in the audience were whispering, "Yo, is he okay?" Some swore it looked like seizures, others said it was a bad relapse. Either way, the man didn't look like himself. Those videos spread like wildfire, faster than his team could cover up. Suddenly, it looked like the empire he built off power and control was starting to crumble right in front of everyone. His closest people tried to quiet it down, but the internet had already seen too much. Not long after the rumors exploded, BG jumped on camera, cracking up like it was all a joke. He said, "Man, Birdman ain't high. He just can't read the teleprompter," and laughed it off like everything was business as usual. According to him, Birdman was fine, no health issues, no relapse, just bad lighting and a little exhaustion. And that's the same story everyone in Birdman's circle keeps repeating. He's good, just tired. But come on, not everyone's buying that. Maybe they're protecting the boss, or maybe they're scared to say what's really going on. Because when you see those clips, Birdman half conscious under the lights, mumbling while the crowd stares. It's hard to believe it's just fatigue. It looked like something way deeper, like the life he built was finally taking its toll. Some folks online even said, "That ain't lean, that's karma catching up." And honestly, it's hard to argue. Just think about it. How many artists from that empire have faded away, lost their shine, or straight up disappeared? Big names, once on top of the world, now ghosts in the game. It's like Cash Money drained the life out of people, one deal at a time. Every fallen career, every silenced voice feels like another piece of that empire's soul slipping away. So let's be real. Toni Braxton didn't just leave a man, she escaped a machine, a system that looked golden from the outside, but was rotting on the inside. Birdman's name been tied to the word ritual for years, but people got it twisted. Nobody's talking about candles or pentagrams. The real rituals were about power, loyalty, and total control. That's how the game was played. You gave your soul to the label, and the label decided what you were worth. From the outside, Cash Money looked like a music label, but once you peek behind that glossy image, it moved like a secret society, one that demanded silence, obedience, and sacrifice. Cash Money moved like a secret society, straight up. Every new artist had to prove they were loyal before they could even dream of rocking that diamond-studded logo on their chain. It wasn't just business, it was initiation. Think about it. The infamous kiss on the lips, calling him daddy, the matching tattoos. None of that was random or playful. Those were pledges, silent promises that said, "You're mine now." Once you signed that contract, you didn't just join a label, you joined a system that demanded loyalty every single day. Birdman ran his empire like a ritual. He made the routine look like a flex, showing off his cars, stacking cash on camera, tossing chains like golden crowns. But nothing in that world came for free. Every gift came with a message attached. This came from me. Don't forget who put you here. It was Loyalty Theater, a performance where every artist had to play their part or risk losing it all, and the ones who didn't play along, they vanished from the story real quick. Groups like UNLV stopped being mentioned. Names like Kilo G faded into silence. Some even whispered that Kilo's death wasn't random, that he paid the price for speaking out. That's when people started realizing this wasn't about business anymore. This was control, dressed up as family. Then came Lil Wayne, the golden child, who finally pushed back. When he started questioning the money, the contracts, and the so-called family structure, everything cracked open. That's when the mask started slipping. The fairy tale turned into a power struggle. Fans online began piecing it together, saying, "Yo, this ain't no occult ritual. This is a loyalty trap." See, people love to hype Cash Money like it's some dark secret cult, but the truth is colder than that. Birdman didn't need magic. He had manipulation. His rituals weren't about candles and symbols. They were about control, obedience, and ego. The real sacrifices weren't goats or blood. They were freedom, independence, and identity. And Birdman pulled that same move so many times that it stopped being business. It became belief. Even if it was fake, people started treating him like he was untouchable. That's how deep the mind game ran. A kingdom built not on talent, but on fear and loyalty. That's the world Tony Braxton walked straight into. A world where everyone froze the second Birdman stepped in the room. The air changed when he arrived, like people were scared to even breathe wrong. For Tony, that didn't feel like love. It felt like a warning. Around him, respect looked more like worship, and Tony wasn't built for that. She'd already fought through lupus, heartbreak, and the music industry itself just to keep her peace. No way she was about to let any man, no matter how powerful, take control of her soul. So she did the only thing a strong woman could do. She broke the spell and walked away. And that's when the whole Birdman aura started falling apart. The power, the mystery, the boss image. It all started to look fragile. That short, secret marriage between Tony and Birdman became the first domino in his downfall. Sure, they'd gone public back in 2016, flashing smiles and luxury like a power couple, but behind the glam, everything was cracking. When they secretly tied the knot last year, fans thought it was the start of a new chapter, but the honeymoon didn't even last a week. Just 2 days after the ceremony, Tony filed for divorce, calling it an irretrievably broken union. That's not heartbreak. That's someone escaping the trap. She later withdrew the petition in January 2025, probably trying to handle things quietly. But by mid-2025, their social media told the whole story. Every photo gone, every post deleted. The silence said it all. The love story was over for good. Then Birdman did what Birdman always does. He went online and started firing shots. He accused Tony of using him for money, called her a gold digger, and even claimed she pawned her engagement ring while demanding $160 million payout. That's when the drama exploded. Blogs lit up, gossip pages ran wild, and reaction live streams turned it into a cultural circus. Suddenly, everyone was choosing sides, some defending Tony as a survivor of a toxic empire, others riding for Birdman like he was the one betrayed. It turned into a loyalty war. split right down the middle. The R&B world versus the hip-hop kingdom. And for the first time, Birdman wasn't controlling the story. The internet was. Birdman's reputation took a major hit after that split, and it hit different depending on where you looked. In R&B and pop circles, he got painted as cold and manipulative, the kind of man who treats love like a business deal. But in the trap and southern rap scene, his never back down attitude only made him look more like a boss. People said, "That's Birdman. He don't fold for nobody." His image stayed powerful in the streets, but his credibility outside hip-hop, it started to crumble. Financially, he managed to dodge big losses since Tony's divorce filings got tossed out. But the damage wasn't just about money. Tony had the public's sympathy at first. Fans saw her as the woman who escaped a controlling empire. But when that $160 million claim dropped and talk of a missing $5 million ring surfaced, the internet flipped the script. Suddenly, old headlines about Tony's bankruptcies started making the rounds again, and a few brands quietly hit pause on sponsorships. Still, the scandal brought her name roaring back into the spotlight. Streams for her classic hits shot up overnight, and her documentary work about women's financial independence started getting fresh love. In a strange way, the chaos gave her career a second wind. Proof that even heartbreak can turn into power when you own your story. Meanwhile, over at Cash Money, things weren't looking smooth either. The feud exposed deep cracks inside the empire. Birdman's shaky relationships with legacy artists, producers, and mid-tier acts finally came to light, especially the ones still tied to Lil Wayne's Young Money. They started freezing collabs and distancing themselves from anything stamped with Birdman's name once the feud blew up online. But Birdman being Birdman, he flipped the drama into hustle. He used the controversy as promo fuel for rich gangs' releases, turning every headline and live stream debate into free marketing. He knew how to spin attention into profit, but even with the streams up, the respect was gone. When the dust finally settled, Birdman still had the keys to Cash Money, but not the heart of the culture anymore. His empire was intact, but his legacy felt hollow. Tony, on the other hand, walked away with empathy, momentum, and her dignity, even if some skeptics still whispered that her timing was just a little too perfect. The old Cash Money alliance, gone for good. The brotherhood that once ruled Southern hip-hop finally cracked under the weight of greed and secrets. And when people talk about money, they're not just talking about hits and platinum chains. They're talking about the dark financial rituals that kept Cash Money spinning for decades. Even Jada Kiss couldn't resist taking a jab at it on stage, laughing, "I love Bird's money." But everybody knew there was truth hiding in that joke. No one can deny what Cash Money did for the culture. They shaped Southern hip-hop, brought a whole new sound to the world, and built an empire of hits. But behind the champagne toasts and private jets, the business was a maze of manipulation. The fancy cars, the designer fits, the mansions, all props in a show designed to keep artists chasing a dream they could never fully own. For years, the label was run like a pyramid, every artist owing more than they made, every deal written to keep Birdman on top. Dozens of artists said their advances never really came, or came as recoupable debts that they could never escape. No transparency, no freedom, just confusion and contracts built for control. Even legends got caught in the web. T.I.'s $10 million lawsuit exposed just how deep the trap went. His teenage contract had one lawyer repping both him and the label. That's a setup if there ever was one. A total conflict of interest that guaranteed every deal leaned straight in Cash Money's favor. And then came Lil Wayne's war, the battle that pulled the curtain all the way back. His 2017 lawsuit accused Cash Money and Universal of doing business behind his back, playing games with his streaming money and publishing rights. They allegedly twisted numbers, delayed payments, and forced him into a corner until he finally settled for less than he earned. Just like Suge Knight ran death row out west, Birdman had his own version down south. All power, no mercy, and no exit once you signed that dotted line. Birdman had a genius and ruthless way of keeping control. He'd flash the cash, the cars, the ice, but those weren't just flexes, they were payments. Symbolic offerings meant to keep his artists locked in, even after the spotlight faded. It wasn't real freedom. It was a golden cage. Those flashy gifts said, "You're rich because of me, so don't ever forget it." And behind those glittering chains and Bugattis, the real deal was buried in contracts that nobody could fully understand. See, back in 1998, Cash Money signed that legendary deal with Universal, the infamous 80-20 profit split that changed the game forever. Sounds great for the label, right? Because it was. That deal became Birdman's blueprint. He copied that same model for every artist that came through. It was loyalty by contract, and it kept him sitting on top while his artists chased checks that never arrived. Masters, almost never owned by the performers. Royalties, so foggy that even accountants gave up trying to trace them. Birdman used to brag, Universal never owned nothing. And technically, he was right, but it also meant nobody else did either. Even the people who helped him rise, like Wendy Day, the same woman who negotiated that first Universal deal, said she never saw the money she was promised. And Birdman's cold-blooded catchphrase became legendary in industry circles. Sue me. When I gotta pay you, you'll get paid. That line alone told you everything about how he ran business. Eventually, Universal stepped in, again. Not to fix the problem, but to protect their own. They started covering Cash Money's debts in exchange for tighter control over distribution. That move flipped unpaid royalties into corporate leverage, turning the artist's missing money into bargaining chips. Insiders later started calling it ghost royalties, money that should have gone to the people making the hits, but instead got funneled up the ladder into silent power plays. Inside that empire, loyalty bought you Lambos, jewelry, private jets, and front row treatment. But the minute you stepped out of line, your career went ice cold. Late checks, shelved albums, ghosted calls, even quiet blacklisting. Meanwhile, the public still saw the illusion. The helicopters, the mansion shoots, the Stuna Island lifestyle, all part of the myth that Cash Money was unstoppable. But behind that myth was a machine straight out of the medieval era. One ruler, total control, and everyone else fighting to keep their spot at the table. Birdman and Slim ran Cash Money like kings on a throne. Nobody made a move without their blessing. The younger generation, like Jacquet and others under the label, showed almost blind loyalty. They pledged allegiance for life, even though most of them had zero real control. These weren't mystical rituals or secret spells. This was something scarier. Habits built over decades that weaponized money to keep power locked at the top. It was proof that behind all the shine and bling, the system was never about family. It was about control. But power like that always cracks eventually. And 2025 was the year the empire started to shake. Some of the biggest names in Cash Money began making silent moves behind Birdman's back. Quiet, strategic, but loud enough for anyone paying attention. The tension inside the camp was boiling. Some artists were flexing, showing they didn't need the label anymore, while others stayed quiet, scared to lose their spot. But one thing was clear. Everybody had an agenda. Lil Wayne, the heart of the brand, the one who helped build Cash Money's golden era, made it crystal clear. He was done pretending. His old beef with Birdman had been cooling for years, but this time, the heat came back full blast. During the Hot Boys reunion tour, Birdman tried to hype up the crowd mid-speech, and Wayne straight up walked off stage with the crew, leaving him hanging in front of thousands. Cameras caught it. Clips hit the internet, and fans went wild. And that wasn't the only moment. Just weeks before that, at Lil Louisiana Fest 2025, Birdman tried to give a heartfelt shout out to his late mother, Ms. Gladys. But Wayne cut him off mid-sentence, snatching the mic and switching the topic. It was icy, public, and loud. Everyone watching knew what that meant. The forgiveness from their 2018 settlement was dead and gone. Whatever peace they made had expired. Old wounds reopened, old checks resurfaced, and old rules got broken. The so-called Cash Money family wasn't family anymore. It was a cold business war waiting to explode. Wayne was done playing nice. This was his comeback era, His time to take back control. He wasn't just rapping, he was reclaiming his legacy. Every move, every verse felt like a statement. I built this, now I'm taking it back. Meanwhile, Juvenile took a different route. He stayed cool, kept his tone classy, but fans could still feel the frustration bubbling underneath. During the Cash Money, Millionaire's 30th anniversary tour, Juvenile finally let a little truth slip, calling out Birdman's own booking team for underpaying or flat out sidelining fellow Hot Boy Turk after more money disputes. He said it straight. It put him in a weird position, torn between loyalty to the crew and doing right by his people. By the summer, though, Juve switched up his energy, focused back on the music, channeling all that tension into his new projects. He wasn't trying to feed the drama, but everyone could tell he saw it through the game. Loyal, yes, but not blind. Then came Drake, the smoothest chess player in the room. Kendrick might have called him a snake, but the truth is, Drake's always been strategic. While everyone else was trading shots online, he stayed quiet, plotting in silence. And when he finally made his move, it hit like a bomb. His 2025 lawsuit against Universal, the very plug that handled Birdman's distribution. It wasn't personal beef, it was pure business chess. Drake was making power plays, slowly building his independence, while still dipping into the Cash Money orbit whenever it benefited him. That's smart money right there. And let's not forget Nicki Minaj, the queen who knows how to move in silence. She didn't pick sides or throw shade, but her actions said everything. While Birdman bragged in interviews about making over $2 billion off Wayne, Drake, and Nicki, claiming he'd paid them handsomely, Nicki didn't say a word. No confirmations, no denials, nothing. Just dropped her own projects through her own imprint, her own connections, not Birdman's pipeline. That's how you move like a boss, staying respected, keeping your distance, and letting your success speak for itself. While Birdman tried to flex ownership, his biggest stars were already slipping from his grip, proving that power built on control never lasts forever. Smart move, because by the end of 2025, Birdman's so-called big three weren't really his anymore. Lil Wayne, Juvenile, Drake, and Nicki Minaj, the very artists who built his empire, had each found their own path, and none of those roads led back to him. Wayne's public walk-offs, Juvenile's calm but pointed diplomacy, Drake's cold legal chess moves, and Nicki's silent but powerful independence, together, they painted a picture of rebellion wrapped in class. Loyalty only went so far, and every one of them finally decided to own their story. Behind the cameras, the whispers were wild. Secret lawsuits, backdoor exits, and new alliances forming in the shadows. Everyone could feel it. Something big was brewing, and one wrong move could flip the entire Cash Money universe upside down. By late 2025, the label wasn't running like a music powerhouse anymore. It was running on chaos. The studio, the tours, even the staff meetings all felt like pressure cookers ready to blow. Cash Money had turned into ground zero for hip-hop drama. The tension that used to stay locked behind closed doors started leaking into the public eye through social media rants, leaked clips, and tense moments caught on live streams. Fans couldn't look away. Every new headline was another episode in a saga that just wouldn't end. And Birdman, he was trying his hardest to hold the empire together with sheer control, micromanaging release dates, blocking collaborations, even deciding which tracks could drop and which had to stay buried. It wasn't about creativity anymore, it was about authority. The more he tried to tighten his grip, the faster the loyalty slipped away. By the end, Cash Money wasn't the shiny dynasty it once was. It was a battlefield dressed in luxury, where egos clashed louder than beats. The empire that once ran the South was now cracking under its own legend. And if you've been following this wild ride, you know this story isn't done yet. The next move could change hip-hop forever. So if you want more shocking truths, wild drama, and deep dives into the biggest scandals in the game, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to Juicy Reel and stay locked in for what comes next.
Are you guys a couple?
Well, T, that's my girl, my friend. my family.
Do you have sex?
That's my love, my soldier, my life. She my everything, and I trust
Because you
her.
bought her a Bentley truck.
Yes.
So the implication is that's your girlfriend.
She my life.
From secret weddings to sudden breakups, and from shady denials to mysteriously missing jewelry, Toni Braxton and Birdman's relationship has been a wild ride, more twisted than a Six Flags roller coaster.
Saying, you know, Birdman doesn't know if he's a blood or a Crip, or this, you know, this gay thing and that gay thing.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
He was saying that you was gay.
Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm a straight gangster, man. That nigga been in my hood. He know what's happening with me. You hear me? Nigga know what's happening with me, man. Google me, man. Call anything in the 504 and ask about me. Google me, man. Watch what come up.
Yeah.
Straight G.
This love story has had everything: passion, confusion, and a touch of chaos. And today, we're diving deep into this hot, tangled mess. Back in 2001, Toni tied the knot with Carrie Lewis from mint condition. Things seemed picture perfect at first. The music, the fame, the love, but it didn't take long for cracks to show. Then, just a year later, in 2002, she crossed paths with
Tracy is the one who said to me, Toni, you know, when you make it, you can help us come on. So I always try to abide that. But the responsibility of it is so heavy for me. I feel like I can never live my life, and I never used to say it. I never used to say anything to anybody, but since we've been doing this show, I've been saying.
None other than Brian Birdman Williams, the big boss of Cash Money Records. That meeting right there, it changed everything. Sparks flew, rumors started swirling, and the industry began whispering about this unexpected duel. And baby, from that moment on, nothing was ever the same. Who is this mystery man, you ask? None other than Birdman, the co-founder of Cash Money Records, the same powerhouse label.
Like a lot of people don't understand, my second bankruptcy is because I was sick. I have lupus, and my show in Vegas got canceled.
And the insurance wouldn't cover it.
The insurance didn't cover it, so I had to pay myself.
Right. That's a lot. That was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money. But the show people don't understand. It's if you see a concert, you see the lights, you see the band on stage, artist pays hotel rooms, the salary. So then you have nothing.
That dropped the iconic hit, Baby, You Can Do It. And if you've seen that music video, then you already know. The chemistry between Toni and Birdman was straight up electric. It was wild. It was magnetic. It was giving something's going on here. Vibes for sure. But of course, they swore it was all strictly professional. She was still married at the time. And Birdman, well, he was out there doing his own thing. And only God knows what that was. Out here locking lips with Lil Wayne on camera like it was nothing. What in the Damon and Marlon Wayans parody is going on here? Toni tried to keep her personal life steady though. After having 2 beautiful children, she and Carrie Lewis decided to call it quits. The marriage was done, but they wanted to end things with class. In her memoir, which you can check out below, Toni revealed they made a pact to stay cool for the kids. They even continued living under the same Atlanta roof and promised to take one family vacation together every single year. One vacation a year with your ex. Oh hell no, that's a plot twist nobody saw coming. Even Toni's mom was like, girl, it's time to mix it up. Maybe try dating outside your type, basically telling her to play in the snow. But Toni wasn't ready. Her heart was still healing, and she wasn't about to rush into another messy romance just yet. Still, destiny had other plans. And Birdman wasn't exactly the kind of man who stayed in the background for long. Maybe the real reason Toni wasn't ready to date again was because she and Carrie had started sneaking around for round 2. Yep, they gave love another shot, but that spark burned out fast. After about a year and a half, it was over for good. When the divorce papers hit, things got messy. Toni had to pay him alimony, while Carrie was ordered to drop $2,000 a month in child support. Wait a minute, alimony and child support? Girl, that's a double hit. This right here is exactly why they say, make sure he's got more money than you. Because a grown man cashing checks from a woman like Toni Braxton, that's wild. After that fiasco, Toni decided to take her mama's advice and switch things up. She dipped her toe into new territory and started dating a white man. And by February 2012, The headlines were screaming that she was linked to none other than Eddie Murphy. Yep, that Eddie Murphy. But just when people thought this could be something real, it fizzled out quick. Fans started rooting for her and Babyface to become a thing. The chemistry was undeniable. But Tony shut it down on The Breakfast Club, saying Babyface would never see her in that light. Dang, talk about the friend zone. Then out of nowhere, she stepped out with the most unexpected man ever. Birdman! Nobody saw that coming. They hit the red carpet in 2016, and the world went silent for a second before everyone collectively screamed, "Wait, what?" Months into dating, Birdman went full flex mode and gifted her a Bentley SUV, luxury on wheels, Bobby. By January 2018, they dropped their track, Hard Away, giving fans a musical peek into their whirlwind romance. Then boom! Just a month later, Birdman dropped down with a ring, and Tony said yes. But wait, what about Carrie? Was he back at the house popping champagne, celebrating her engagement too? Tony told Daily Pop that Birdman was ready to lock it down. He told her straight up to pick a wedding date ASAP because he wanted to be a married man before the year was out. But guess what? That wedding never happened. The months rolled by, then the years, and Tony kept pushing the date back over and over, blaming it on work commitments. That sounds like a polite excuse if you ask me. People started whispering that maybe she wasn't too eager to marry a man with Birdman's unique reputation. Folks joked that she didn't want to wake up next to a dude who looked like a mix between a bird and a pit bull every morning. Maybe that's why those wedding plans kept getting delayed again and again. Then came the real jaw-dropper. While flying from New York to Los Angeles on a Delta flight, Tony accidentally left her Louis Vuitton train case behind on the plane. Inside that fancy little box, her massive yellow diamond engagement ring, worth a staggering $5 million. How do you forget something like that? Who leaves a small fortune sitting in a carry-on bag? That's beyond careless. The next day, the airline found the case, but when they opened it, all the jewelry was gone. Poof! Vanished into thin air. When Birdman later sat down with Wendy Williams, he tried to play it cool. He said he wasn't even sweating the missing ring. Told her straight up he'd just buy Tony another one if he needed to. That's some serious big money talk right there. But still, that missing bling became the talk of the town, and it left a whole lot of people wondering if their relationship was starting to lose its shine too. Oh, with Lil Wayne's money that you still owe him, huh? The shade writes itself. Then came January 2019, and boom, the drama hit social media like a storm. Tony and Birdman unfollowed each other out of nowhere, and Birdman added fuel to the fire by posting "It's over" on his Instagram story. Real dramatic energy. Folks were quick to assume the engagement was dead and gone. Birdman was out here acting emotional, like a man mid-R&B heartbreak ballad. But a few months later, he tried to clean it up, telling Wendy Williams the whole breakup was just a publicity stunt. Yeah, okay. According to a source from Hollywood Life, the couple wasn't sweating the rumors. In fact, they didn't mind the public chaos one bit. Why? Because all that buzz kept Tony's reality show, Braxton Family Values, trending again. The more people talked, the more views rolled in. A little drama for ratings never hurt, right? By April 2020, during the pandemic lockdowns, fans were still waiting for wedding bells, but nothing. Tony went on the Rick and Sasha show and admitted that she and Birdman kept going back and forth about wedding plans. They'd set dates, but things always got too big. Birdman even suggested they just do a drive-through wedding. Can you imagine Tony Braxton saying, "I do" in a car while picking up fries? No way. She shut that down quick. Years kept slipping by, and still, no wedding, no ring replacement, no nothing. Then out of nowhere, in December 2023, a messy online source claimed Tony and Birdman had finally tied the knot. Fans lost their minds, headlines were everywhere. But before anyone could celebrate, Tony jumped on Instagram and cleared it up herself. She reposted the announcement with a sharp caption that shut it all down. "My dear friend, Birdman and I are not married. Never been married. And just like that, she snatched the truth back from the rumor mill. But the damage? Oh, that was already done. We are both single now. That's what Tony said, officially putting Birdman straight into the friend zone. By April 2024, it was crystal clear that their on-again, off-again roller coaster had finally screeched to a stop. She opened up to People magazine saying she was actually enjoying the single life. Tony said, "I'm looking forward to getting out there and dating." I mean, dating can be scary too. It can be a little bit, but a nice guy. Someone who will watch Lifetime with me all day long, or at least once in the week. Girl, you don't need a man for that. You can call your sisters for a Lifetime marathon. Her fans were split right down the middle. Half of them were celebrating, happy that Tony had finally left Birdman and his drama behind. But the other half, they weren't buying it for a second. They swore she'd be back with him before the year was over. And guess what? They might have been right, because in April 2025, TMZ dropped a bombshell. Just 4 months after that whole "I'm single and ready to mingle" interview, the outlet reported that Tony and Birdman had actually gotten married. Wait, what? I know you lying. Or maybe she's lying. Either way, somebody's out here playing with our emotions. Because just when fans started wrapping their heads around this surprise wedding news, boom, another twist hit. The happy couple didn't even last a month. According to legal documents obtained by TMZ, Tony filed for divorce a mere 2 weeks later, listing their official separation date as August 10th, 2024. 2 weeks? That's shorter than some trial subscriptions. After years of ups, downs, rumors, and million-dollar rings, it all ended in paperwork. No more maybes, no more makeups, no more mystery. Tony Braxton and Birdman's love story went from glitzy and glamorous to gone in a flash. Tony's lawyer officially called the marriage irretrievably broken, which sounded like the end of the road. But hold on tight, because it gets even messier. Somebody, please hand me my margarita. And don't forget the peach rings. You know I toss those right in the glass. It's my therapy drink for when celebrity drama gets this wild. Just when everyone thought the split was final, boom, a shocking twist dropped in January 2025. Tony suddenly dismissed the divorce petition and Birdman actually signed off on it. Wait, what? After everything, the back and forths, the emotional interviews, the $5 million ring fiasco, they're still legally married. But here's the kicker. Nobody knows what's really going on between them now. Neither one has said a word publicly. And that silence? Oh, it's loud. So here we are. Years of breakups, reconciliations, and postponed weddings. And this love story is still hanging by a thread. Considering how it all started with secret studio chemistry, flashy gifts, and rumors flying left and right, it's giving major unfinished business energy. Are we seeing red flags all over again? Or are people just jealous that Tony's still the one catching Birdman's attention while he's doing his Birdman thing? Bestie, you so messy. Someone's probably saying right now. But let's be real. This saga's too wild not to talk about. Drop your thoughts down below, because this story might not be done yet. And hey, before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on Juicy Reel, where the tea never stops spilling and the drama's always hot. Let me tell you something, and listen close, because I've watched every Braxton show there is. I've seen the drama, the tears, the laughter, all of it. And this right here, this is just my opinion, but I think there's way more to Tony and Birdman's situation than people realize. See, Tony's been open about her lupus for years. That illness takes a real toll on the body. On top of that, she's battled heart issues that scared her fans half to death. So maybe, just maybe, she's not marrying out of romance anymore. Maybe she's thinking about security. Here's how I see it. Tony might have tied herself to Birdman because she wanted to make sure someone powerful was in charge of her estate if anything ever happened to her. Someone who could handle her finances, protect her kids, and even look after her family, her sisters, her mama, the whole Braxton crew. Now let's be real. They all got money, but none of them got Birdman money. The man's pockets are deep. Like, never worry about another bill again. Deep. And you know what? Maybe this whole thing isn't about love in the traditional sense at all. Maybe it's more of a quiet arrangement, a mutual understanding between two people who know exactly what they're getting out of it. Some people might even call it a lavender marriage type of deal, a partnership built more on loyalty, protection, and power than passion. Whatever the truth is, one thing's for sure. This story is layered, and we might not ever know the full truth behind those wedding rings and business moves. Now, if that theory's true, it actually makes a lot of sense. Toni's a smart woman, and she's been through too much to let her legacy fall into chaos. She's been grinding in the music industry since the 90s, building her name brick by brick, hit after hit. So if she decided to make a business-type move with Birdman, that could have been her way of securing her empire and protecting her loved ones. Still, people can't help but whisper about the real dynamic between them, because Birdman has always been, well, mysterious. He moves like a man who's got 10 different versions of the truth. One minute, he's all about love and loyalty. The next, he's out here with cryptic posts and shady smiles. Some folks swear he's hiding something, others think he's just misunderstood. Either way, Toni's no fool. She knows what kind of man she's dealing with. And you can't deny they've always had this strange magnetic pull, like they can't fully let go of each other, no matter how many times they try. And let's not forget how this whole situation looks from the outside. Toni's fans are split down the middle. Some say she's sacrificing too much just to stay connected to him, while others think she's playing chess, not checkers. They say she's keeping her cards close, setting up her future in a way only a true diva could. Still, every time we think it's over for good, something drags them right back together. A public sighting here, a cryptic emoji there, or a casual repost that sets social media on fire. It's like they can't quit each other, no matter what. So what's next for Toni and Birdman? Another reunion? Another heartbreak? Or maybe this was the plan all along? A relationship built on secrets, survival, and just enough love to keep the world guessing. Whatever's really going on behind those designer shades, one thing's for sure. This story ain't done brewing yet. See, the truth is, Toni and Birdman have been good friends for a long time. That's why I think they kept everything low-key when they tied the knot, if they really did. They didn't want every camera flashing in their faces or social media turning it into a circus. Their bond runs deep, and they've been riding for each other through all the chaos and rumors. But here's the thing, maybe Toni's still got that tiny voice in her head wondering if her real forever love might still be out there somewhere. Maybe she's thinking, one day I might meet a real king, or even a prince, someone I'm actually drawn to, someone I want to wake up next to every day. Still, at the same time, she knows time isn't exactly on her side anymore. She's been through heartbreak, illness, and fame. She's seen it all. So maybe she just wanted to lock something in that made sense on paper. And when I say civil, I don't mean nice, I mean legal. She might have said, you know what? Let's do this the smart way, so if anything ever happens, my kids, my estate, my legacy, all of it stays protected. It's not about romance at that point, it's about strategy. Now I can already hear folks saying she could have just set up a trust. She didn't have to marry him for that. And yeah, that's true. But who really knows what's going on behind closed doors? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an estate planner. I'm just calling it how I see it. Maybe Toni's playing long game moves we can't even see yet. What do you think? Is this love, loyalty, or just smart business? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more wild celebrity tea, only on Juicy Reel.
I know where you live because I put down your down payment.
You sure did. Thank you so much for
and
that.
now that
Thank
you got
so
this
much
little
for the
accident,
gift.
give me my money back. That was not a gift.
Promise to God. Yes, it was. But it's
no,
okay.
you didn't. Stealing and helping.
But what you steal?
I don't steal anything.
You don't?
What I stole?
You stole men.
Who's the man that I stole?
Tony's.
It's official. Tamar Braxton just caught the feds' attention, and things are getting messy fast. Sources close to the FBI's Atlanta field office are saying her bankruptcy case isn't just about poor money management anymore. Nope, it's being treated as potential bankruptcy fraud. Can you believe that? New documents have reportedly surfaced showing unreported income and suspicious property transfers, and that's when everything started unraveling.
Remember Tony said she was going to do the bridal shower? She's not doing the bridal shower. Somebody else is making sure everything is right for the bridal shower. I mean, I just thought that everybody would be, you know what I'm saying, happy and excited and wanting to be a part of it and want to be involved, but I'm not getting any of that, and that makes me sad.
Yeah. The internet went wild the second that leak hit social media. Timelines flooded, people tagging Tamar Braxton left and right, asking if she was the one who tipped the feds off. The timing? Way too perfect to ignore. One fan summed it up perfectly in a viral post. Y'all stop thinking Tamar Braxton is crazy.
I'm not supposed to say anything. The only thing that brings us together is the cameras.
Her sister Tawanda listed her as a creditor. That was a gift lie. That one post, boom, it exploded overnight. By sunrise, everyone was deep diving into the receipts, and the FBI was already reviewing Tawanda's 2019 Chapter 7 filing. In that filing, Tawanda listed Tamar as someone who owed her $35,000, claiming it was a loan. But here's the catch. Tawanda has always said it was a gift. So now investigators are zeroing in on that exact line in the paperwork, because one mistake like that can flip a case from financial trouble to a federal crime. Under Section 18 of the U.S. Code, a false declaration in bankruptcy is serious business. So now, what started as a quiet financial cleanup might just turn into a full-blown federal mess, and people are saying, if Tamar did have anything to do with alerting the feds, this family drama just hit a whole new level. Now, this is where things go absolutely crazy. The warrant the feds pulled, it wasn't just about Tawanda's bank account. Oh no, it went way deeper than that.
I can't wait to see it.
Able to be there. That's why I was calling you.
That made me very sad.
I know.
It's about to be cut off because I took my credit card off because I found out that Tawanda has been using my credit card to pay her phone bill.
My phone bill?
Insiders are whispering that Tawanda's property in Georgia, the one she supposedly transferred into her husband's name, might have been a sneaky move to hide assets from the bankruptcy trustee. That's major trouble if true. And get this, it's the same house Tamar allegedly paid the down payment on. Yep, that's the one. Tamar even brought it up on camera during an old Braxton Family Values taping, where she looked Tawanda dead in the eye and said, "I know where you live because I paid the down payment." That line used to sound like playful sister shade, but now fans are saying that wasn't just drama, that was evidence. After that episode aired, things escalated fast. According to sources close to the investigation, the FBI subpoenaed credit line records tied to that very address, and what they found next shocked everybody. That's how the whole phone bill fraud angle surfaced. Turns out, Tamar's name was linked to multiple recurring phone service charges that spanned years. One fan online summed up the outrage perfectly, saying, "Tawanda so nasty, paying 6 phone lines for 12 months for 4 years, plus a $35,000 home loan. Girl, I'd never speak to you again." At first, everyone thought the internet was just being dramatic, but then the paperwork started backing it up. The FBI's case literally references long-term phone service accounts listed under Tamar's name. And if that's not suspicious, what is? This is turning into one of the juiciest family scandals reality TV has ever seen. Now it's all starting to make sense. What once looked like just another messy Braxton family argument might have actually been a full-blown paper trail of fraud. And here's the spine-chilling part. This isn't even Tawanda's first run-in with the law. If you dig deep enough, you'll find she was arrested back in 2005 in Atlanta for forgery and theft by receiving. That old case, it quietly disappeared. But clearly, the FBI didn't forget a thing. Now the internet's torn apart asking the same burning question. Did Tamar really report her own sister? Because someone had to hand over those 2019 bank statements, and everyone knows the feds don't move without solid receipts. When Tamar's name started trending right next to the phrase FBI witness, people lost their minds. Was this some kind of sisterly revenge, or just Tamar protecting herself before things spiraled out of control? But before anyone jumps to conclusions, there's more to this story. Sources claim Tawanda might have actually dragged Tamar, and even Tony, into her financial chaos without their consent. Imagine being pulled into a federal mess you didn't even sign up for. Right after news of Tawanda's arrest hit the blogs, one name started echoing all over social media, Tamar Braxton. And it wasn't just random gossip either. Fans started piecing together the timeline, noticing how everything lined up a little too perfectly. It's got everyone asking, was Tamar really cleaning up her own name, or did she just pull the trigger on her sister's downfall? Just days before the federal audit reportedly hit Tawanda's file, Tamar dropped a series of cryptic tweets that had everyone talking, and now that those posts are deleted, fans are convinced she was subliminally calling her sister out. The tweets sounded like a woman who'd finally had enough of being lied on and used, and when you look back, the timing couldn't have been more suspicious. See, this all traces back to that messy 2019 drama when TMZ confirmed Tawanda owed Tamar $35,000. Tamar said it was a personal loan, while Tawanda tried to brush it off as a gift. That single disagreement, just one line on a bankruptcy form, has now become the heart of the FBI's fraud case. Because if you list a family loan as a gift or misreport your debts, that's not a mistake. That's a false declaration under bankruptcy law, and that's federal time if proven. But here's where it gets even juicier. Insiders say Tamar didn't just talk, she came with receipts. According to someone close to the Braxton camp, Tamar's attorneys allegedly confirmed she had bank transfer records showing the exact payments made to Tawanda's escrow account for a home down payment. So when Tamar went off on camera and said, "I know where you live because I paid the down payment," that wasn't just spicy reality TV talk. That might have been literal evidence all along. And the plot thickens. Right after that bankruptcy filing, Tawanda allegedly transferred her Georgia home into her husband's name. Now fans are convinced it wasn't just a coincidence, but a move to keep the feds off her trail. Because let's be real, when you start shifting property ownerships in the middle of a bankruptcy case, the FBI doesn't just watch, they pounce. This whole thing's got people screaming online. Tamar wasn't messy. She was right all along. That's exactly how the feds catch people, under the concealment of property clause. Once you start hiding assets, it's only a matter of time before the heat finds you. But the part that really shook fans wasn't even the paperwork. It was an old resurfaced clip from Braxton Family Values that suddenly hit way different after all this came out. In the clip, Tamar confronts Tawanda about a cease and desist letter she says she never got. And Tamar wasn't holding back. She looked her sister straight in the face and said, "I know where you live because I paid the down payment. You've been stealing from me for years." That moment was pure fire. But Tawanda clapped right back with a line that made jaws drop. "Girl, you stole Tony's man. Don't even start with me." That one comeback flipped the whole internet upside down. After that episode aired, fans started digging through old rumors, connecting dots between Tamar and Tony's ex-husband, Carrie Lewis, and even whispers involving Michael Malden, Jermaine Dupri's father. Suddenly, this wasn't just a money fight. It became a full-blown betrayal saga, mixing family, love, and loyalty into one explosive mess. And get this, the same reality TV footage that made the Braxtons' household names might now be used as federal evidence. According to an insider, Tamar's team didn't go out of their way to report Tawanda, but they allegedly did cooperate completely once questioned. The source said they handed over every single receipt the FBI asked for. And if that's true, that means the feds didn't need to dig. The Braxton family drama basically documented itself. Still, social media isn't totally convinced Tamar's just an innocent bystander in all this. One fan tweeted, "Tamar's not perfect by far, but Tawanda telling Tony to call the police and press charges? That's a little extreme." Even Tamar herself has said the Braxtons only come together when the cameras roll. Off camera, it's war. And now, with feds, fraud, and family betrayal all tangled together, this war might just be the most shocking one yet. It's wild. Like real life and reality TV just fused into one giant investigation. Every shady look, every heated argument, and every sarcastic "that was a gift" line from Braxton Family Values suddenly looks like evidence. Who would have thought those old reality show clips might end up being clues in a federal fraud case? But the darkest part of all this isn't even the money, it's the betrayal. Fans are convinced Tamar didn't cooperate with the feds out of spite. She did it to protect herself before she got pulled down with the same mess. She knew how fast her name could get dragged if she stayed silent while her sister's financial drama blew up. By the time Tawanda's arrest hit every gossip blog and entertainment feed, an old rumor came crawling back that made everything 10 times worse. people started remembering what Tony Braxton's former assistant, Zoe, said on his podcast back in 2020. And it wasn't pretty. He claimed Tawanda once stole her own mother, Evelyn's Social Security check. Yeah, you read that right. Her mother's SSI. Zoe even said, "When you can steal SSI checks, I don't know what to say to a person. When you're that thirsty, that evil." That line sent chills through everyone listening. And then the receipts started matching up. Reports confirmed Tawanda had indeed been arrested in 2005 for forgery and theft by receiving in Atlanta. Now people are saying this new FBI probe doesn't look like some small misunderstanding. It looks like a pattern. Longtime Braxton Family Values fans already know the sisters' money problems were always lurking in the background. The debts, the shade, the constant arguments over who owes who. But this time, it's way deeper than a sisterly spat. Because when you mix federal fraud charges, family betrayal, and decades of mistrust, what's left of the Braxton legacy starts cracking right in front of everyone's eyes. And people are saying it out loud now. This isn't just TV drama anymore. This is real-life fallout. Even Tony Braxton, the calm one who's always played peacemaker, couldn't stay out of the storm this time. A viral clip started circulating where Tony was seen canceling on Tawanda's event over the phone, and fans immediately noticed something was off. It wasn't just a scheduling issue. It was distance. People online are saying Tony's pulling back for one simple reason: self-preservation. She's got her own reputation, her music empire, and her money to protect, especially now that the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit has eyes on her sister. And honestly, who could blame her? When your family's being investigated for fraud, the last thing you want is your own accounts ending up in a federal discovery file. But here's what really hit fans in the gut: the silence. The once tight-knit Braxton sisters, who used to flood social media with selfies, hashtags, and love posts, suddenly went radio silent. Trina, who never missed a chance to celebrate her sisters, hasn't said a single word. No posts, no comments, no subtle shade, just silence. And that silence, it spoke volumes. Then came the fans, connecting dots like detectives. One viral comment said, "So Tony thinks it's all right to help out the family, even if it means they're stealing from you?" Allegedly charging 6 phone lines for 4 years, and that's the same person who didn't think she should pay them to sing background. That comment blew up because it touched the nerve of what's really breaking this family apart: loyalty versus money. The whole Braxton brand was built on sisterhood, unity, and image, not paychecks and debt drama. But now, with every silence, every unfollow, and every little detail coming to light, fans are wondering, has that loyalty finally reached its limit? Every single time this family tries to pull it together, money finds a way to tear them right back apart. From Tamar's public battles with her mental health, to Tony's never-ending tax liens, to the heartbreaking loss of Tracy, it's like the Braxtons can't catch a break. The cameras show the glitz, but when they stop rolling, the real story always crawls out of the shadows. Since Tawanda's arrest, she's gone completely quiet online. No posts, no comments, no explanations. But that silence didn't fool anyone. Court watchers started digging through her filings, and what they found had everyone's jaws on the floor. Tawanda listed $277,000 in assets, but more than $547,000 in liabilities, including a $50,000 Tesla she was still driving on camera. One fan said it perfectly: somebody with $150 in their account shouldn't be whipping around in a $50,000 Tesla. Something's not right. And honestly, they might be onto something, because the feds are now combing through everything, from phone bills to property deeds to business transfers. According to insiders, if Tawanda is found guilty of falsifying her financial disclosures, she could be facing up to 5 years in federal prison. Meanwhile, Tamar's camp hasn't said a single word publicly, but sometimes silence says everything. And that's exactly what's driving fans wild. Because if the truth really is that Tamar quietly handed over receipts to the FBI, this wouldn't just be a family fallout, it'd be one of the biggest betrayals in reality TV history. And hold up, it doesn't even stop there. There's another twist coming, one that ties Tony's silence, Tawanda's husband, and some shady offshore money transfers together. Insiders are now calling it a multi-year concealment scheme, and it's reportedly way bigger than anyone expected. When word broke that the FBI had frozen Tawanda's business account, everyone thought the drama was over. But apparently, that was just the beginning. Because if what these sources are saying is true, the Braxton family storm is far from finished, and the next chapter might expose more than just finances. it might expose loyalty itself. Nah, that wasn't the end. That was just the beginning. According to insiders, investigators allegedly uncovered that a chunk of Tawanda's skincare company revenue was being funneled through a consulting firm under her new husband's name. Yep, the same man who now legally owns their Georgia home. That move, which she probably thought would protect their assets, allegedly backfired hard. Federal prosecutors are now treating that transfer as intent to conceal assets, which could open up an entirely new level of federal charges. And just when you think it couldn't get darker, sources close to Toni Braxton's camp revealed that she quietly withdrew her name from all joint Braxton family ventures months ago, almost like she saw the storm coming and dipped before it hit. Meanwhile, Tamar has been keeping quiet in public. No statements, no interviews, nothing. But what really broke fans' hearts was the resurfaced photos from Tawanda's Bridgerton-themed bridal shower. And guess what? Neither Toni nor Tamar showed up. Back then, everyone brushed it off as typical sister drama, but now, it looks like they were already backing away for a reason. Apparently, that same period was when the IRS issued a back tax warning tied to Tawanda's household account, the very moment that triggered the first wave of federal scrutiny. So when people say the Braxtons saw this coming, they might be right. It's sad, though. This family that once stood as the definition of sisterhood goals is now tangled in betrayal, fraud, and public chaos. The same bond that made them stars might be the very thing tearing them apart. From reality TV fame to FBI investigations, the Braxton name has become a storm no one can look away from. And honestly, this story proves one thing. When the cameras turn off, the real drama begins. If you're living for the twists, the tea, and every scandalous update, make sure you subscribe to Juicy Reel right now, because you know this saga isn't over yet.
Man for? You think I'm too? Huh?
Don't you go there.
Don't you? Man.
Don't you?
Hold it.
You are a superstar. You are a
Don't put your hands on me.
I didn't touch you. I didn't touch you. I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
Toni, this is unacceptable behavior. I had to try to de-escalate it as much as I could. I didn't touch Tamar. I got in between she and Toni because Toni's smaller than Tamar. That's like a Rottweiler trying to fight a York.
Can someone please just pull the plug on the Braxton sisters reality TV chaos already? This family has turned every season into a battlefield with no peace in sight.
Y'all don't like me because y'all jealous.
Because you're a mean girl. You're lying.
Oh, you're such a hater. Y'all hate me so bad.
Oh, my God. And mental illness is real. It's real.
Oh, I'm crazy?
Mental illness is real. Go ahead, Toni. I'm listening. I don't argue with sick people. Go ahead. Bitch, I will you up,
don't
Tamar.
play
Don't
with me.
do that.
I swear to God. But you're not going to do with my mental health when all y'all really need to pick.
They've cycled through more therapists than most people change hairstyles, yet somehow the drama keeps exploding louder every time. It's like therapy sessions turned into war zones instead of healing circles. Toni and Tamar are back at it again, throwing verbal punches left and right. Tamar went off, asking Toni if she really slept with that other man, and the whole room froze. Then someone dropped another bomb, allegedly Birdman too. Like, seriously? Tawanda even jumped in, accusing Toni of messing with her own ex, which sent everyone spiraling.
Who's the man that I stole?
Tony's. You slept with them
a
few times.
Who? What man?
You not get
talking about the Versus battle where Birdman, Manny Fresh, and other Cash Money artists hit
the shade, the tension, the absolute nerve. Now things have gotten so wild that they're threatening to have Tamar locked up. She's gone from emotional to explosive, screaming, crying, and lashing out like she's had enough of everyone's fake love. And Toni, she's not even playing the peacemaker anymore. Her calm queen energy has turned into straight coldness. Everyone's masks are slipping, and we're seeing who's really who in that family drama. The Braxton family feud has gone from entertaining to pure madness. No lines, no limits, and no turning back.
But her sister Tamar was loud and proud in the middle of the stage with her brother-in-law, and she was not only seen twerking and bopping her head to all the hits played from both sides.
Each sister's got secrets, and they're dragging each other through the mud on national TV. It's messy, emotional, and addictive. You can't look away for even a second. If there's one thing Tamar got right, it's that this whole family might need a serious mental health check and maybe a prescription or two, because the way these sisters been acting lately, it's not even close to normal. Nothing about their behavior screams peace. It's pure chaos, nonstop. Every episode feels like a breakdown waiting to happen. Now let's get into this wild Birdman situation, because that's where the drama really popped off. During one episode of The Braxtons, Tamar showed up to dinner with that "I know something y'all don't" look and started grilling her sisters about a cease and desist letter she mysteriously received at her private address. She wasn't even mad about the letter itself at first. It was how they got her new address that made her lose it. See, Tamar swore up and down that her home was under a different name for privacy, like most celebrities do, so for someone to get that info, someone close had to snitch. Fans online immediately started pointing fingers at Tawanda, Trina, or even Tony, accusing them of leaking her address. The family group chats must have been on fire that night because the tension on camera was unreal. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. The family's own attorney confirmed that Michael Braxton Jr., their brother, was actually the one who sent the cease and desist. The reason? They brought their niece Ashley onto the show without his blessing. But that reveal didn't calm Tamar down one bit. Instead, she exploded, saying it wasn't even about the letter anymore. It was about her sisters scheming behind her back. And just like that, what started as a dinner talk turned into a full-on Braxton battlefield. Voices raised, hands flying, tears, accusations, pure madness. 1 minute it's about a letter, the next it's about betrayal, and suddenly everyone's dragging everyone. This family doesn't argue. They erupt. Things went from bad to straight explosive when Tamar started accusing Tawanda of stealing from her for years. Tamar claimed she had loaned Tawanda a whopping $50,000 to help with a down payment on a house, but Tawanda fired back, saying it wasn't a loan at all. It was a gift of $35,000. That's a huge difference, and it didn't stop there. Tamar then dropped another bomb, saying Tawanda had been secretly using her credit card for 4 years to pay her own phone bill. Can you imagine? But Tawanda wasn't about to stay quiet. She flipped the whole thing and called Tamar the real thief. And then came the nuclear-level accusation. Tawanda said Tamar had slept with one of Tony's ex-boyfriends. The producers had to literally bleep out the name during the show so no one knew exactly who she was talking about. But that didn't stop fans from playing detective. Online, people started buzzing that the mystery man might have been Shamar Moore, one of Tony's old flames from way back. Others swore it was Birdman, claiming the affair went down years ago and just got buried under family drama. The theories were flying wild, and everyone had their own version of the truth. Then on the show, Tamar directly confronted Tony, asking if she really slept with her other man, and Tony's face said everything. That awkward silence, that look, it was giving pure Birdman vibes. Fans watching went crazy, convinced Tamar was throwing real shade right there on camera. And here's where it got even messier. Just days before this aired, fans were already side-eyeing Tamar for being too friendly with her brother-in-law, Birdman. It all happened at that Versus battle in Las Vegas when Birdman, Manny Fresh, and the Cash Money crew went up against Master P and No Limit. Cameras caught Tamar laughing, touching, and acting a little too cozy backstage, and social media exploded with clips. People were like, wait, is this the same Birdman Tony's with? The timing couldn't have been worse, and the Braxton family drama just hit a whole new level of scandal. Toni Braxton was nowhere to be seen on that stage, but her sister Tamar, she was front and center, owning the spotlight like it was her show. Cameras caught her dancing right next to Birdman, her brother-in-law, and fans could not believe what they were seeing. Tamar was twerking, laughing, and vibing hard to every track from both sides of the battle. But what really had people talking was how comfortable she looked with Birdman. At one point, she even leaned in to wipe sweat off his head, and that clip went viral in seconds. The internet exploded with outrage. Comment sections were flooded with fans saying, "Ain't no way that's okay, and you don't touch your sister's man like that." The whole thing spiraled fast. People were calling it disrespectful, messy, and downright suspicious. Tamar didn't say much at first, but her body language told the world she wasn't worried one bit. Then came the real plot twist. Rumors resurfaced that Tamar and Birdman actually dated way back in the early 2000s, long before Tony ever got with him. Back then, it was all hush-hush talk, just whispers floating around the industry. But insiders claimed the two were definitely close, maybe too close. Nobody had proof, but the way they moved together that night had fans saying, yeah, something's up. And honestly, when you put it all together, it suddenly makes sense why Tamar seems so comfortable around Birdman. That kind of chemistry doesn't come from nowhere. If those old rumors are true, it flips the whole situation, because that would make Tony the one who crossed the line, not Tamar. Imagine finding out your sister dated the man you're with now. That's wild. The Braxton drama just keeps getting deeper. and this one might be the most scandalous twist yet. Now here's where things take a shocking twist. Turns out Toni Braxton and Birdman actually got married, but what happened next had everyone's jaws on the floor. According to leaked court documents, the two secretly tied the knot on August 8th, 2024, but just 48 hours later, yes, 2 days, they were already separated. The paperwork used only their initials, TB and BW, probably hoping to keep it under wraps, but come on, it didn't take long for people to connect the dots. The documents clearly listed the marriage date and the split, August 10th, 2024, and just 2 weeks later, Toni filed for divorce. In the paperwork, she and her attorney described the marriage as irretrievably broken, which is basically legal talk for this relationship is done for good. The internet went wild trying to figure out what could have possibly gone wrong in just 2 days. But then, just when everyone thought it was officially over, Toni changed her mind. In January 2025, she quietly dismissed the divorce petition, and Birdman signed off too. That means, as of right now, the two are still legally husband and wife, whether they're living together or not. And thanks to Tamar's recent chaos bringing old drama back into the spotlight, fans just found out that Toni and Birdman are still together behind the scenes. Now, the big question everyone's asking, why stay together after all that? Well, insiders claim Toni might be hanging on for financial security. She's had a long public history of money troubles, from bankruptcy filings to unpaid taxes, and Birdman's got the kind of cash that can keep things comfortable. Some fans even say Toni sees Birdman as her financial safety net, especially with her health issues and recent financial setbacks, whether it's love, loyalty, or just smart survival. One thing's for sure, Toni's playing this game her way. And Birdman, he's clearly not letting go either. This marriage might be messy, but it's far from over. People online are saying Toni and Birdman couldn't be more different, like total opposites who somehow ended up in the same storm. Word is, their marriage might have been more of a business arrangement than a fairy tale love story, and honestly, that wouldn't surprise anyone at this point. The vibe between them has always felt complicated, like something's being held together by image, not emotion. Now, whether Birdman was actually the man in question from Tamar's accusations still isn't confirmed, but just the rumor of it had Toni Braxton completely losing her cool. Toni snapped, saying that Tamar loves being infamous more than famous, and that she's beyond disappointed in her sister's behavior. She even admitted she's been paying her own publicist to clean up Tamar's messy image online. Imagine having to hire a whole team just to manage your sister's social media drama. That's wild. And fans were quick to point out, Toni's emotional reaction made way more sense if Tamar was talking about Birdman all along, especially since rumors have been swirling that Tamar and Birdman dated first. The tension suddenly made sense. This wasn't just about family, it was about a love triangle wrapped in years of resentment and buried secrets. But Tamar wasn't sitting quietly while Toni threw shade. Oh no, she came with receipts. Tamar started dropping her own claims, saying that Toni isn't as innocent as people think. She even said it was Toni's idea to bring their niece Ashley onto the show, the same niece who later spilled some jaw-dropping tea of her own. Ashley revealed that her father, Michael Braxton Jr., and her stepmom once found inappropriate text messages between Ashley and one of her aunt's partners, and that partner turned out to be Trina's ex, Gabe. The whole situation was disturbing and messy, and fans couldn't believe how deep the Braxton family web of drama really goes. Every time you think you've heard the worst of it, another layer peels back, and it's always more scandalous than before. When Ashley first told her aunt what happened, she said her aunt was loving